back to the second episode of Marketing My Business. I'm Valentina and here with me there's Filippo.
Hello once again. I'll be here with you together with Valentina, also in this episode on the discovery of marketing environment and its most relevant features.
Then, since you are the expert, let's start with the first inputs.
Okay, let's go then right into the matter. Recalling the basic meanings of marketing and its definition, there are some sentences which summarize the basic idea widely spread. Marketing is the activity set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large, as it states in the American Marketing Association. Marketing is a product or service selling related overall activities. It generates the strategy that underlies sales techniques, business communication, and business developments. And finally, marketing is an integrated process through which companies build strong customer relationships and create value for their customers and for themselves.
Wow, I think we are having a very deep start. Can you please help us to better understand?
Okay, I'll try to put it in a simple way. Basically, when it comes to marketing, the idea goes broadly to the analysis of the two fundamental dimensions of any business environment, the demand and the offer of products or services.
So now we are leading straight to the title of this second episode.
The real success of a business enterprise depends on the actual ability to sell the products. Or, in other words, the actual degree of market success. This is why it becomes extremely important to analyze carefully the key players in the market, those who make and sell products and services, and those that buy the products or services, the competitors and the demand.
Analysis? So we are going back to the need of researchers, right?
In general, according also to the type of business, information should have a good level of detail in terms of both quantity and quality. This information is obtained as a result of a market research, according to the following basic methodologies.
Desk analysis, using data and information posted on official sources, such as journals, field studies, official statistics, and databases. Examples of data sources for this type of analysis are research and statistics, chambers of commerce, and sectoral associations.
Field survey. Data and information collection directly from the relevant players in the market, potential customers, current competitors, suppliers of goods and services from the market, and industry experts. The main instruments are questionnaires and interviews, even informal. When possible, direct observation of the behavior of a subject type, and all instruments that we use for research must be quoted in the business plan, even attaching a copy if necessary. For example, in the case of questionnaires.
This reminds us to the distinction between marketing research and market research that we have seen right at the end of the first episode. Then, what comes next?
We have to look deeply into the basic elements of the marketing environment.
Starting then from the demand, right?
Right. In economics, demand is the desire to own anything, the ability to pay for it, and the willingness to pay. The term demand signifies the ability or the willingness to buy a particular commodity at a given point of time.
Well, it seems we are starting right from the very core issue for a successful business, isn't it? Is it true, then, that the business plan should be seen as the first tool to be used by the entrepreneur for a deepening of this knowledge of the users of its products or services?
That's right. There are some relevant aspects that need to be clearly defined.
Which ones?
First of all, the definition of a customer type. it is important an outline, brief but comprehensive as possible, of the general characteristic of the basic customers. Type: consumers versus business activity, men versus women, families, and so on. Geographical location, socio-cultural characteristics, in the case that the customer is a single consumer, such as youth, sports, graduates. Spending power, buying habits, frequent, occasional, pulsing, weighted, and so on.
It seems that we had to build up a precise identikit of the customer. And what's next?
Then the attention is driven to the identification of needs and benefits generated by the products or the service.
In which sense?
Pinpointing the needs of customers, it will be possible to infer relevant information to make any changes to the product, or demonstrate that the initiative has a strong market potential and therefore success.
Then, if I understood, the description of the advantages has to include features not only directly related to the simple use of the products, rather those also related to, for example, the easy availability, ease of use, affordability, design, after-sales services, and so on.
That is right. Then the final task is to work for the quantification of potential customers in order to verify and demonstrate the practical economic sustainability of the initiative and to define its market objectives: number of customers to be served, number of products to sell. It is necessary to know which potential pool of customers the starting up company will be able to meet.
So it sounds simple, but how can I turn this quantification into reality? How can I collect precise numbers?
In case the product is targeted at serving the business sector, for example, private companies, it will not be difficult to ascertain the precise number of potential client companies from the web, or better, from the records of the Chamber of Commerce or relevant sector studies, even in a given relevant geographic market, for example, regional, national, international, and so on.
And in case of single customers?
In the case that the company serves the final consumers, making the usual assumption of a small business or services, the estimated potential market will be realized by crossing the typical profile of the customer with the relevant geographic market.
Wow, I guess now we have a better understanding of what there is behind the demand side of the market. Is this all?
In more complex cases, it can be useful to make a process known as segmentation, grouping the different types of users into homogeneous classes internally and inhomogeneous between themselves. But this is something we'll better discover lately in this second episode.
Let's now turn to the other side of a coin.
You mean the offer, right?
Yes, but why do we have to worry about other players in the market?
Even more innovative business ideas have to deal with an extremely competitive market, where producers of goods are present in abundance. Therefore, it is necessary to talk about competitors.
Competitors?
According to the businessdictionary.com, a competitor is any person or entity which is a rival against another. In business, a company with the same industry or a similar industry which offers similar product or service. The presence of one or more competitors can reduce the prices of goods and services, as the companies attempt to gain a larger market share. Competition also requires companies to become more efficient in order to reduce costs.
Then, what do we have to start worrying about?
In the case of a business startup, competition analysis meets two key objectives: to identify the barriers to entry in the market, to ensure its competitiveness compared to the direct and indirect competition.
What?
Barriers to entry means the economic, financial obstacles to overcome for a successful startup in a particular field. For example, it is important to know whether starting up the business requires the acquisition of a highly expensive licenses, or if the product or service to be provided is protected by copyright held by other companies.
And the other one?
Direct competition is represented by companies that have the same type of product to the same target customers. The indirect competition is represented by companies, products or services that, even somehow different, fulfill anyway the same needs of the target customer. For example, in an area where there are many offices, a diner can be considered a competitor of a supermarket in preparation for take-out breakfast, as they both address the need for a quick lunch for the workers of the surrounding offices.
It sounds that indirect competition is more difficult to detect and monitor.
Yes, it is. Anyway, the main aspects of competition that may be necessary to know are location, size, turnover or number of employees, products or services, price of the products, quality of the products, promotional strategies adopted.
In this way, we are going to build up clusters or groups, right?
More generally, it is relevant to explore the market segment, where competitors are addressed, and if the emerging company will be able to compete successfully on the same type of customers. Alternatively, it will be possible to evaluate the opportunity of identifying market segments still unexplored.
Segments, segmentation. What are you talking about?
Wait a bit more. Now we have to introduce a sort of third element in the marketing environment.
If I correctly remember, you are referring to suppliers, right?
Yes. Suppliers can be considered all the companies or individuals for the acquisition of all the raw materials needed to initiate and lead the production process.
And are they so relevant?
Of course, given the importance of the so-called inputs for the business as a whole, and the fact that in many cases the value of supply represents a major cost on the company accountability, it is clear that the new entrepreneur will have to drive his attention also to the choice of suppliers, with the ground purpose of letting them become a kind of business partner to the success of the company.
Wait. Are we talking about external suppliers or partners?
Thanks to their experience operating in the market, suppliers can offer relevant advice to the starting company, affecting in some way the management activity and its initial choices to rely on discounts, deferred payments. Consistent support and advice means acquiring profitable benefits since the first months of activity.
But being so important, how can we choose the right ones?
Factors to be considered for the choice of suppliers can be summarized as follows: adequacy and technological capacity, logistics, on-time delivery, flexibility, mode of delivery, price level, quality of service and in any additional service.
Wow, market researches, the demand, the offer and suppliers. What comes next?
And now it's the turn of what we have already anticipated.
Oh, you mean market segmentation?
Yes. As we should have already discovered, the market segment is a subset of a market made up for people or organization with one or more characteristics that cause them to demand a similar product or service based on qualities of those products such as price or the function.
In other words, market segmenting is dividing the market into groups of individual markets with similar wants or needs, right?
Yes. The deeper we go with the analysis, the more concrete is the segment. And then, once a market segment has been identified via segmentation and targeted in which the viability of service in the market intended, the segment is then subject to positioning.
Positioning?
Well, trying to be simple, we have to decide the precise segment we intend to tackle, according to our potential and objectives.
It seems clear. Is that all? Are we moving now to the third episode?
Wait. After collecting and analyzing all information relating to all the actors relevant in the starting up phase, and after having benchmarked them with the characteristic of the same company, it will be possible to summarize the picture on a SWOT analysis.
SWOT analysis?
Yes, the analysis of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats that characterize the business initiative.
So, a sort of summing up?
In some sense, the SWOT analysis summarizes all the potential that the starting company can spend on the market. In other words, it is a schematic summary of the data and information already discussed and described in the previous sections.
It sounds like a sort of logical summary of all the considerations collected so far. But how can we come along with this implementation?
The different sections can be shortly described as follows. Strengths and weaknesses relate to internal factors of the company on which the entrepreneur may intervene directly and which determine an advantage or disadvantage compared to the competitive scene of reference. Opportunities and threats are exogenous factors outside the enterprise, but they may affect performance in a positive or a negative way. For example, technological innovation, regulatory restrictions, economic trends, and so on.
Exogenous factors? How can we affect them?
Obviously, the entrepreneur cannot operate directly on these variables. Knowing and predicting their impact on the life of the company may, however, give the possibility to reduce the negative impacts and exploit the positive ones.
All right. I think I understood everything. Is there something else?
No. That is really all for now. We are really ready to tackle the theme of the third episode. Marketing strategies into practice.
So, let's stay in touch once again on the next episode. Bye bye from Valentina.
And from Filippo.